message to you about laying down your life for your friends. It comes from John 15:13, and I know you just sat down, but in reverence of reading God's Word, would you please stand with me in reading that one verse, John 15:13? And that verse says, "Greater love hath no man than this, that a man lay down his life for his friends." Let us pray. My Father which art in heaven, as we come on this Memorial Day, there's no greater friendship that's been developed among our war heroes. As these young men go into the Army and Marines and Navy and Air Force and all the different branches, they develop such a close friendship with their buddies. And Father, that friendship is so great that we've seen it demonstrated over and over where soldiers give their life to save their friends. And Father, we should feel that same way if we are a true friend. We would love our friends so much, Father, that we give our life to save that friend. So Father, as I preach on this message about today, Father, lead and guide me in all the things I should say. Father, just fill me up with your words. And Father, as we come to recognize the fallen today, Father, we ask that the ones going forward and ones putting their life in jeopardy right now, that you be with them and you keep them safe. Father, bless our country. Bless our leaders. Bless our president. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. As I read that verse, "Greater love hath no man than this, that a man lay down his life for his friends," there's many ways. There's an ultimate sacrifice where we can lay down our life and we die. Memorial Day, which we celebrate here, began back in the Civil War. If you were at the nursing home Tuesday night, I'm not going to take a lot of time. I've told you about it before, but it all started where two mothers were going to decorate the graves of some Confederate soldiers, and they noticed some Union soldiers over there that nobody was putting any memorial about, and they said we should honor those too, even though they were on the other side. They're somebody's son, and they have a mother and father somewhere that loved them. And so that's how Memorial Day came about. But also when it says that greater love hath no man than this, that a man lay down his life for his friends. In essence, if we really look at that verse, you can lay down your life for your friend and not have to give your life. But you can really lay down your life and change and give up everything that you know about. A true friend, and we're going to look at that today as we go through the message here and stuff, but a true friend will always be by your side. He won't worry anything about himself. He'll only worry about you when you're in need. A true friend also was a guy that I want to focus on as I begin this morning, Desmond Doss. Did you get his picture, Sydney? Who knows who that man is, Desmond Doss? Does anybody know him? Does the name ring a bell? How many of you ever saw a movie called Hacksaw Ridge? You saw the movie? You saw the movie, it was about this man, Desmond Doss. Well, let me tell you about Desmond Doss, because it's worth telling today on Memorial Day. It's worth remembering. Desmond Doss was a Seventh-day Adventist. A Seventh-day Adventist believes a lot of things that we do, but they worship on Saturday. His mother was a true Seventh-day Adventist, and she instilled those values of the church and the religion in him so great that he honored it in everything that he did. When he was in the Army and he joined the Army, he had a nickname. His nickname was Preacher. But he really believed through his studies in Seventh-day Adventists about thou shalt not kill, that he should take that literally. Now he got a job. He went through the 8th grade in school and he got a job and he was working in the shipyards. And when World War II broke out, he would have been exempt from the war because he worked in the shipyards. But yet he didn't want to. He wanted to serve his country. So he volunteered to go into service. When he went into service and joined the Army, he told him, he says, I don't do anything on Saturdays. Y'all need to understand that. And because that's my Sabbath, that's the day I honor. And I will not carry a gun and I will not take a life. Well, how do you think that went over with the Army when they told him that? It didn't go over too good. They wanted to kick him out. So he asked, he says, but I want to serve my country, so I want to be a combat medic. He said, that way I can help, and I can help my country and help my men. But they wouldn't let him. They put him in a rifleman battalion, hoping that from that thing that he was having to go through, that he would get fed up, that he would quit. He got bullied. He got berated. He didn't have any friends at all at the time because everybody hated him. Everybody talked about him. There's Desmond. He won't even carry a gun. He won't do anything. But Desmond persevered. And finally, he kept telling them, I want to be a combat medic. He says, all right, Desmond, we can't get rid of you. You're not going to quit. Go be a combat medic. So Desmond did. He was put at Fort Jackson in South Carolina with the 77th Infantry Division to do his training. And shortly after that, he was sent over to Japan in Okinawa. And his division was ordered to take the Hacksaw Ridge. Now here's the amazing part. Hacksaw Ridge was a plateau. You had to scale it up almost 100 feet. You had to climb the sides. And then once you climbed it, you had a plateau on top. Well, the Japanese had control of it, and they had to try, their order was to take that place, Hacksaw Ridge. So the Japanese had a very strategic plan. While the soldiers of America was climbing Hacksaw Ridge, they did not shoot at them. They waited till everybody got on top of the plateau. And when they got on top of the plateau, they were dug in and everything, and they opened fire on those American soldiers. Well, Desmond Doss was a group that had to climb the Hacksaw Bridge, the plateau. He had to climb up there with them. In time they got up there, all chaos broke loose. And Japanese killed many of our soldiers, but also wounded many of our soldiers. Now here's the brave thing about that young man right there. He did not worry about his own life. They say while he was up there on top of that plateau, bullets was flying all around, and all he was interested in was getting those men that was injured, getting them off of that plateau, and getting them and taking a rope. He had a rope where he could shuttle them down to waiting forces below that would get them help. That was all he was interested in, and that's what he did. By himself, with no help at all, he is responsible for getting 75 men off of that plateau, taking them one by one and ferrying them down. Now listen to this. What's the song they just sung? What's the name of the song? What a beautiful name it is. All right, think about Jesus. I want you to see what Jesus did. Now this is the miraculous part. This is what gives me shivers when I talk about it. While Desmond was on the battlefield, usually if you were a combat medic and you got the cross on there, they won't shoot you. But the Japanese didn't go by that. Matter of fact, with the combat medic, that was one of the first ones they wanted to shoot. They wanted to inflict as much damage, even though he didn't have a gun, and that represented that he didn't have a gun, and still tried to shoot him. But a miraculous thing happened for Desmond while he was on Hacksaw Ridge. Every time a Japanese had him in aim, their gun misfired. They talked to two of the Japanese after the fact who said, I had him in my sight. And for whatever reason, when I got ready to shoot, my gun would not shoot. What a beautiful name that is. That name of Jesus. He protected Desmond that whole period of time. And you know, Desmond didn't want to do anything on the Sabbath. But guess what day they were ordered to go take Hacksaw Ridge? On Saturday. But he loved his friends, and he felt it was important. And he went. One of the ones that bullied him most, his commander, who was in that battalion because he wouldn't tote a gun, who berated him, he is responsible for saving his life. Because of his bravery, on October the 12th, 1945, Desmond Doss was awarded the highest medal that you can get, the Medal of Honor. Harry Truman said this, when he awarded the medal. Harry Truman said to him, as he presented him the award, "I consider this to be a greater honor than being President of the United States to present you this Medal of Honor." 2 weeks after that, they had another excursion, and Desmond was wounded very badly. He was hit this time. But even though he was injured, they said he did not stop taking care of other soldiers, that he went to everyone caring for their needs, bandaging up their wounds, and that when they were getting them out of this place to a place of safety, he refused to be moved until he knew every one of the soldiers that was there in his platoon had been taken out. He would not be gone. Desmond Doss, true American hero that demonstrates greater love hath no man than this, that a man lay down his life for his friends. Even though he didn't die, he laid down his life for his friends, that they might live. So as we looking this morning, we're talking about friendship. What is a friend? The dictionary has a friend as a person whom one knows and with one who has a bond or mutual affection. A friend is somebody that you can hold dearer than a brother sometimes. Sometimes your friend can be your spouse. And men and women, I believe that your greatest friend should be your spouse. It should be somebody you can tell your innermost, darkest secrets. And that spouse, no matter what, should always have that person's back and be by their side. But we develop friendships in other places too. I shared with you how when my dad died, I was floored when 5 men come by and told me that my dad was the best friend they had. It's one thing to be a best friend to one person, but for my dad to be the best friend to 5 people really made me feel special about my dad, that he could be there for those people. A friend is somebody that you can always count on, that always be there, that you always be by your side. A friend is somebody that you might not see for a while, but if they hear that you're having problems, miraculously they show up. Friendships sometimes are built in grammar school, and they continue right on to this day. I have people I consider friends that I probably haven't talked to in 10 or 15 years. But I truly feel like if we were back together again, that we could pick up our conversation right where we were at and continue on. The Bible gives us great examples of great friendships in the Bible. I just want to share a few of those with you so you can understand what a true friendship is. One of the greatest we have is, if you want to write it down, I'm not going to read it, is in 1 Samuel chapter 18. It's between David and Jonathan. Jonathan was Saul's son. David gained favor with Saul by slaying the giant, Goliath. And him and Jonathan hit it off right away. But Saul afterwards began to be fearful about David taking his place. So he really sought to kill David. But Jonathan, being the friend that he was, would always warn David, "You need to stay away today, David. If I do this, you don't come." They loved each other like brothers. Jonathan didn't worry that David might be taking his place in the kingdom. He wasn't worried about that. He only wanted the very best for his friends. And then in battle one day, Jonathan and Saul and all of those were killed. And David finally became king. And I think the act that David did on that day shows the greatest thing that a friend could do. Jonathan wasn't there. He was dead. But as become king and they had a period of time of peace, he says, "Is there anybody left in the house of Jonathan that I might show favor to my friend?" And he says, "Yeah, he had one. He's a cripple. His name's Mephibosheth." And Mephibosheth was crippled when the new kingdom started coming in, and the nurse was running with him and dropped him as a child and broke both legs. So David sent for Mephibosheth, and Mephibosheth thought because he was of the other kingdom that he was going to be killed. But that's not what David had in plan. A true friend honors when he don't have to. And he come to Mephibosheth, and it says when David looked into the eyes of Mephibosheth, that all he could see was the eyes of his friend Jonathan. That Mephibosheth had the same eyes that Jonathan had. And it says, today, Mephibosheth, I'm going to restore unto you all the land that your fathers had before you. Didn't have to. He decided to do it. Mephibosheth says, I can't do anything with it. I'll give you servants to farm it and look after it and take care of it for you. And Mephibosheth, today you will stay in the king's house. And today you'll eat at the king's table and you will be with me always. See, that's what a true friend does. That's what God showed us in the Bible. Moses and Aaron, two brothers. You remember when God called Moses? What did God tell Moses? But I can't talk. But he let Moses and Aaron have such a bond. He says, well, Moses, you lead, and Aaron can talk. They had a unique situation that worked. Why did it work? Because it was two brothers who were best of friends. I would like to say that all families are like that, but it's not. Sometimes brothers and sisters aren't even friends. They don't even get along. They don't even talk. Sometimes when it comes time to take care of mom and dad, they say, you're getting everything mom and dad got, you take care of them. I'm not going to do anything. Friendship. And the last I want to, a couple more I want to talk about was Elijah and Elisha. In 2 Kings chapter 2, verse 2, Elijah tells Elijah that I will never leave you. And Elijah said unto Elisha, tarry here, I pray thee, for the Lord hath sent me to Bethel. And Elijah said unto him, as the Lord liveth and as thy soul liveth, I will not leave you. And you remember Elijah asked Elijah, is there anything that you like? He said, I'd like to have a double portion of Elijah. What you got? And Elijah says, I'll make it so. He loved him, found the perfect one to be. Abraham and God. Abraham was the first one called a friend of God. You know what was so special about being a friend of God? It's sort of like Jesus and the disciples, and we're going to get back to that in a minute. But Abraham and God was keeping everything to himself, but he says, Abraham, since you're my friend, I'm going to tell you some of the things I'm going to do. See, a friend will let you in on the inner circle, let you in on things that nobody else would know. See, Kel last Sunday, he felt special. Me and him was buds. And while he was in my office while I was preparing my sermon, I said, Kel, I'm going to let you in on the secret. I'm going to let you in on what I'm preaching before I preach it. Nobody else is going to know this. But when I preach it, you're going to remember Papa told you. And I don't know if you remember the other Sunday when I was asking a question, he threw his hand up. He remembered. Just a simple act that I did for him made him feel special. That he got to know something nobody else knew. That I looked at him as special. My special bud. That's what I call him. Naomi and Ruth. She loved Ruth so much as a friend, as a mother, that she would not leave her side. All these are examples in the Bible. In James 2:23, it says this, Abraham believed God, and it was imputed for him righteousness, and he was called a friend of God, as I just told you. So if we want to be a true friend, and you want to be a good friend, and you want to be a better friend, how do we do that? What's the marks of being a true friend? Well, Proverbs, Solomon was a very smart guy. And I'm going to give you 3 points that you can work on if you want to be a good friend. In Proverbs 17:17, it tells us, a friend loveth at all times. A friend loveth at all times. He's steadfast. A friend, if you call them at 2 o'clock in the morning, and all they hear on the other end is, I need you. A true friend will say, I'll be right there. He won't ask you what's up. He won't ask you what's going on. He says, I'll be right there. A true friend, if you're having a tough time, and if you're a true friend that has the means, financial or work or whatever, a true friend will step up and do everything that he can. Fenton Stevens is a true friend of mine. He's a former friend. I know we grew up together and played basketball on the same team. I know if I needed anything at all, I could call Fenton, and he'd be right there. This past Friday, Fenton had gallbladder surgery. During this week, while he was planting peanuts, and we all have accidents, one of his boys accidentally drove the truck loaded with 300 bags of peanuts in the ditch. And it turned over, and it dumped all 300 bags of peanuts on the ground. The one way to get those peanuts up, that was a bag at a time. I went by to pick Kennedy up to school, and I saw the truck there, and I saw poor Fenton just looking at it. Like he said, oh, man. And it was hot. It was one of them hot days. The flesh wanted me to say, maybe he didn't see me. Maybe I can just go on and maybe he didn't see me. But the friend says he's having a bad day because I saw him. I need to call. I called him. I said, I got to go get Kennedy, but I'll be right back and I'll do anything I can to help you. And when I did what I said I'd do. Now, did I feel like going out there and lifting 50-pound bags and helping clean up all that? And we had some more help showed up. That's what a sign of a good man, everybody. Everybody heard he had an accident. Everybody knew he just had gallbladder surgery. Everybody knew he needed help. The community came together. That's what friends do. He's got a lot of friends. And you know why he's got a lot of friends? Because he's that type of person that would do the same to you. So he's got to be steadfast. And then 27:17 is our verse from our church. Iron sharpeneth iron. So a man sharpeneth the countenance of his friend. How many of y'all know what a whip rock is? Yeah, all you men do. What do you use a whip rock for, Sandra? Sharpen knives. That's old school. Nowadays they have those things that you pull, but it's metal against metal. Iron against iron. You know what Iron Hill Baptist Church, that's our motto. Iron, we help each other. And I see that y'all use that because when you need somebody when somebody is sick and you need a prayer, you call me, Brother Dale, could you send a prayer request out? That's iron sharpeneth iron. They need a prayer, we'll pray. We send that message out, we all pray, and they know we're praying, and you hear them today come and thank you for doing all that. So we feed off of each other. And I think because this motto is so great in the church, that's the reason we've not had problems that I've heard other churches have. Because we love each other. As God said that we should love each other. So as we look at this verse here and we think about it, we're supposed to be there. And a true friend will make you sharper. Your edge will be a little finer. It'll cut a little better. Because your friends will make it that way. And the third thing is Proverbs 27:6. It says, faithful are the wounds of a friend. A true friend will stab you at times. You might say, oh, that don't feel good. But a true friend will tell you how it is. I go back to a time when we had a man that I consider my friend in this church that was starting in the pine straw business. And I remember maybe I was one of his first customers. And I hadn't been here long. And he asked the preacher a tough question. He said, Dale, how was the pine straw? Well, the preacher wanted to lie. But I couldn't do that because of Brother Allen. And I told Brother Allen, I said, Brother Allen, I'm not complaining. I'm just telling you what I'm about to tell you to help you in your future business. But I said, your straw was dirty. And I said, it needed to be cleaned up. And I says, what's important for you, I says, I'll buy back from you. It's not going to bother me. But for some customers, Whatever they get there, that's what they're going to go forward, and it'll hurt your business. I didn't know how Alan would take that. I didn't know how good a friend would be because I stabbed him. I told him something that could have hurt him. But Alan did the exact, he come and thanked me. He said, "Preacher, I want to thank you for telling me the truth." He says, "I apologize for your straw being that way, but you know what I did? I went and busted all of them other bells that was bailed at the same time you got yours. And you know what I found? The same thing that you found. And I corrected it. And I've made sure going forward I didn't have straw like that." So I tell you that because a true friend can stab you and you won't get mad at them. You'll listen because you know they've got their best interest, your best interest at heart, and you'll listen. You won't get all upset and mad because you know they love you. And our fourth point today, and I'm done. How can you be a true friend? Well, to be a true friend, verse 12, John 15:12 says this, "This is my commandment, that you love one another as I have loved you." To be a true friend, you have to have love in your heart. And you have to love somebody else more than yourself. If you're a type of person that can only love yourself, then you won't be a good friend. Jesus told him in verse 14, "You are my friends if you do whatsoever I command. Henceforth I call you not servants, for the servant knoweth not what his Lord doeth, but I have called you friends. For all things that I have heard of my Father, I have made known unto you." Now watch this. It's very important about friendship, about acceptance. What did Christ tell him? "You have not chosen me," in verse 16, "but I have chosen you and ordained you that you should go and bring forth fruit, and that your fruit should remain, and that whatsoever you shall ask of the Father in my name, he may give it to you." When you pick friends, you choose your friends. Your friends don't choose you. You think about it. You choose who you want to be friends with. Now, I classify everybody in here as my friends, but I'm going to be honest with you. I have people in here that are closer friends than others. It just worked out that way. It wasn't that I tried to make it so, but we just bonded. Had a lot of the same interests, a lot of the same desires and stuff. Jesus Christ picked each one of those disciples, handpicked, knowing their personality and their traits. As a friend also, to be a true friend, you have to acknowledge your friend. How would you like somebody if you really needed me, and say me and Heather was friends, and she really needed me, and I don't have my phone with me, but just say this was an iPad, and you come over, you really need to talk to me about something, and you were talking, and the whole time I said, yeah, sure. How would you like that? You wouldn't feel very personal, would you? And I find a lot of people do that. You have people talking to you while they're trying to do something on the phone. Just let me text this and do this. But true friends focus directly and acknowledge that true friend. Nothing else is important. I'm talking about cut the TV off, cut the radio off, sit there one-on-one, face-to-face, and talk and listen. Acknowledge it. If they don't do that, if they're so busy doing other things, I'm not sure they're a true friend. They don't have the qualifications that they need. Thirdly, how many times have you ever told your true friend, I want you to know I appreciate you? Sometimes we need to tell them. If you've got a true friend that's done something great for you, have you ever told him thank you? You know, I don't have to hear it, but when y'all come out the door sometimes, and you said, Pastor, I want you to know I appreciate you. As Brother John has told me several times for things that I did because I felt I should as a pastor, and he's my friend. But Brother John has told me several times, Pastor, I appreciate you of the things that you've done. It was good to hear. We all love to know that we are appreciated. When I work hard planting flowers for my wife and things, be nice, honey, to say you appreciate it. Instead of saying that, and she does, I'm just picking her a little bit. I knew y'all get a kick out of that. I'll catch it later. But she does, and I tell her every day I appreciate her. I sometimes out of the blue, because she's my best friend, just call her at work. She said, "What you want?" I said, "I just called to tell you I love you." She said, "You crazy." But one day she said, "You know, I love you too." I think that's why our marriage is so good, you know, Courtney. You're getting ready to get married. You got to have a little humor, be able to pick a little bit. But as we appreciate them, we also have to affirm them. When you affirm, appreciation is what people do, but affirmation is what people are. As a true friend, can we affirm that you are honest, trustworthy person that we can always count on? Are you a type person that if I had to go somewhere and I had $100 and I say, "He'll hold my money till I get back"? True friend, you won't worry about it. Your money will be there when you get back. One of the true friends, well, I better go get my money. I don't know what they're going to do with my money. But a true friend, you don't think about it. You affirm. I made you a promise. You remember? When I came here to Iron Hill Baptist Church, I said, "I don't know if I'll be the best pastor or the best preacher, but I said, I'll never embarrass you as your pastor. You'll never catch me in situations that come back to you and say, 'You know what your pastor was doing?'" I said, "That will never happen, because I like to think my character is higher than that, and I love you more than that. I won't ever want to put you in that situation." And last but not least, you have to assure them. Romans 12:15. You got that scripture? My last scripture. What does the Bible tell us to do? "Rejoice with them that do rejoice, and weep with them that weep." There's going to be days when you got something to celebrate. Like with Heather and them having a new baby. I'm their friends, and I can't wait. I'm going to be happy, just as happy as them, and when that baby is born, I'm going to be at that hospital, and I'm going to be seeing that baby. When Anna goes on her mission trip. What did I do for you last year? Every day. Every day. Sent her a text message, because I didn't want Anna to be homesick. I'm her pastor, but I'm also her friend. And I care about what happened. This past week, Kendall's moved on, her and Sean, but I still was here when Kendall raised up. Simple things I tell you friends can do. And I saw the news that morning, and I saw that they were having tornadoes in Missouri. And all of a sudden, God says, "Kendall and Sean's in Missouri." I don't know how close those tornadoes is, but you ought to send them a text and let them know you're praying for them, because I prayed for them. So I just got on my phone and sent them a text and said, "Look, just saw the weather bad out there. Just want you to know I'm praying for you. Y'all be safe, and we love you." And after a while, she texts back and simple messages. Brother Dale Buffkin's good at that. My children tell me how he texts them all the time. Let them know he's thinking about it. That means a lot to the pastor. It means a lot to my kids, too. I'm not beating you up if you don't do that. We all got different traits and different ministry we can. But we all can be better friends. We all can love each other. And we can be there for each other all the time. And that's my memorial message for you today. As Desmond Doss forgot about his life, laid down his life for those 75 men that needed him, be willing to do whatever you got to do to be the best friend that you can be. We got a song to sing.
Bill, we need to remember H.B. Todd. His birthday and him a retired veteran.
We do, and let me share this with you while I did it, and I wish I'd put the picture up there. I went to see HB Friday, and got up there at the nursing home, and he's home now, so I'm glad you mentioned that. He's home if you want to go see him in his house. But they had a Memorial Day service for all the veterans there, and so I got to sit with him, and I'm glad I did, because he didn't have anybody else there with him that day, and we got to sit with him, and he got to celebrate that. And they had another World War II vet there that day, and if him and HB could have had their hearing back, they could have had a jolly good time. But bless her heart, I had to try to tell each of them what the other one was saying. But we could have had a good time with that. But look here, today, maybe you just need to come talk to God. You know, God's your friend too. Jesus Christ is your friend. And what a friend we have in Jesus.